So we'll continue our Kabbalah quiz, question 41 to 45. Question 41 is, what determines how many years we live? So there's a few answers to that. Obviously, we can not know exactly when we're gonna die. We all have a mission. We're all here for a purpose, and the first thing to say is, the moment you know the moment your mission is finished on Earth, technically you have no reason to be here, and you remove from this world. That's why some people die young and without really understanding why, without specific, apparent medical reasons, and that's we're here for a mission, and sometimes staying longer can ruin or bring us backwards, so to speak, on some level. One thing that is good is that when we all come as a Gilgul, meaning reincarnation, when you're reincarnated, you never can destroy what you already built. You can block yourself from continuing your mission, but you cannot. Whatever you fix, you're fixed. It's a chesed from Hashem that we can do that. Now, that's the first thing. The first thing is doing your mission, and when we finish your mission, then there's no real reason to be here. Sometimes there's special souls, like souls of tzaddikim, very holy, who come back here just to help others, but they finish their mission. Then another thing that determines your how many years you live. There's a saying that our words are counted. You have a life force, like a battery energy, and your life force is used when you speak. Everything depends on speech, and the more we misuse our speech, the more we shorten our lives in many ways. But it is an important thing to know. Count your words. The most important is silence. The more careful you're with your words, not speaking lashon hara, the longer you live. But think of counting your words. It definitely will determine how many years you live. Another very important thing is that we are all here to elevate sparks of holiness. Our soul is connected to sparks of holiness. Obviously, it's connected on some level to your mission. But the reason you're going to eat the food you eat, the reason you're going to use garments that you're using, or you're really attracted to that is because you have sparks of holiness to elevate. And even the reason why you go on vacation on certain places that you will never think you will end up going, because there was something to elevate there. So when we have finished elevating all the sparks of holiness connected to our soul, then technically there's no more need to be here, and we disappear. Obviously, every life can be changed if there is. We can shorten our lives by sinning. Just cause and effect. It's not a punishment, but we can reduce our lives. Sometimes our lives is shortened by our not because of us, but because God has made a decree, and because you're in a town and part of the Jewish people and part of the decree, then your life is going to be shortened because of that. So it is impossible really to know exactly how many years you will live, because you have free choice and you can change, expand or shorten your life. Very famous story where King Chizkiah, who was supposed to die, and there was a decree, but he prayed till the last minute, and he got an extra, I think it was 22 years of life. So even if you are about to die, you can still change your decree and your future and live longer. So there's always potential to expand, but you need to have a good reason and do it the right way. All right, that's number one. Number two, 42 is, what is the spiritual tool, remedy that can protect us from the evil inclination? So it says in the Gemara that every day, I believe it's Gemara Brachos, if I'm correct, that every day the Jewish people, the Yetzer Hara is trying to kill you. Every day is coming to try to kill you. But God created a remedy for it. Actually, that remedy, it speaks in Yevamot, it's Gemara Yevamot, page Chav Beis, and it speaks about it in the Yalkut also, page 37. So God told the Jewish people, my children, although I have created the Yetzirah in you, I have also created a good remedy for it. This remedy is the Torah. As long as you study Torah, the evil urge has no power over you. When you're in the middle of studying Torah, you're all involved with Torah, it's the Yetzirah doesn't have the power. We know the story from King David, who was supposed to die, and the Yetzirah has to distract him from, because when you learn Torah, you're directly connected to God, you're directed to the source of energy, you're plugged in. So the moment you might be, the Yetzirah is trying to unplug you. The Torah learning, but again, we're not speaking about just learning, just intellectual, real learning with passion, with desire to change, to connect to Torah, that you have a desire to come close to the Creator, you learn with love. That's the most powerful tool whenever we have the Yetzirah attacking us, a temptation. Run and learn Torah, it says, ideally in the Beis Midrash. If you don't do that, the Gemara, I believe it's in Brachos, says if that doesn't work, you should say Shema. And if that doesn't work, you should think of the day of your death and Gehinom. So different ways, but the most powerful thing is learning Torah. When you study Torah, it's the Ramchal says in the Mesilas Yesharim, Torah is the only way you can be saved. The Satan, the Yetzirah, it's a evil force. It's not you. Don't make the mistake. You are not evil. There's evil attached to you, like a shell, an energy that surrounds you. So that's trying to, or it's inside you also. It's trying to push you to do certain things, but that's not necessarily you. You have to fight the battle, and in a way, the way my Rebbe says, you externalize the Yetzirah by giving him a name. You can call him Joe, or you can call him Mr. Temptation, or Mr. Because the Zohar says you have to give kavod to Yetzirah. When you give kavod to Yetzirah, that you understand that it's an energy created by God, a negative energy created by God to help you, to challenge you. That energy doesn't become negative; it becomes an energy to just direct. You can use nuclear physics to make bombs, or you can use nuclear physics to break a mountain to make a tunnel, or use things in the right way. Lasers can destroy, but they can heal. So everything is about how you direct the energy, and the Torah is here to teach you how to do it, and that's the Mesilas Yesharim says. The Mesilas Yesharim says you have to understand that the only cure is with the Torah, because it's something spiritual also. It's not something you can necessarily understand. If we just could understand our own exactly, then we'll need the Torah and God. But God put that evil urge in us as a consequence of our sin, and in order to challenge us to rectify it. And now we have to learn to handle it and rectify it. Let's remember something very powerful, very big secret, is that it says that Nachash, right, there's a snake, the power of the snake, the power of evil inclination, is the same gematria, the same numerical value as Mashiach, meaning that Mashiach is going to be the one who is the tikkun of the snake, is the fixation of the snake. This I heard from Rabbi Dinovich. He says that it's someone who has learned to harness. Is the snake transformed and fixed, whatever that means. But it means that we will come to a time where someone will show us how to transform the energy from evil to good, how to master it. Okay, that's 42. 43. So I just want to finish with 42. So try to speak. You give a name to your Yetzirah. This is what I learned from my Rebbe, Shabbat Refuah Shlema. you give a name to your Yetzirah and you discuss with him, and say, oh, you want me to do that? Why do you want me to do that? I'm not. It's gonna affect me in negative ways. Yeah, but it's a lot of pleasure, or whatever, and you discuss if it's worth it or not, basically. But if you externalize it, then you give it a name, and then you can speak with him. Okay, 43. 43 question is, what are the 3 ways that demons resemble angels, and 3 ways they resemble men? So they are creatures on earth that look like us, but really they're demons, like people like Hitler, people who can just torture people without any feelings, kill babies and all that. Those are not humans. That's not a human level. Human cannot have the heart to do that. So there are 3 things like angels. The 3 things like angels is that they have wings. Number 2, that they can fly from one end of the world to the other. Spiritual, obviously. And they have the knowledge of the future like angels. So that's what they have that is similar like angels. What is it that they are similar like men? They eat and drink like men. They have children, meaning they reproduce like men, and they also die like men. So it says that in Gemara Chagiga, and Ramban speaks about it. Speaks about it in many places. They can appear in any form they desire and can also remain invisible. So we should not be freaked out, but there's no point. We are since birth surrounded by millions of angels, literally, of energies all the time, good and bad, negative and positive. We live in a world of energy, but there are human beings who are truly don't have a soul, like a divine soul. They have angel soul, the negative angel soul, the shed, and those demons. There's also Jewish demons. The Baal Shem Tov calls them Jewish demons, rabbis who are not really holy souls, and they're Jewish demons, he calls them. So they're demons, and they move the masses in the wrong direction, and they exist by Jews and non-Jews, but basically they're individuals that eventually one day will be discovered and destroyed when Moshiach is going to come. It's part of the eradication of Amalek, a whole force, a whole bunch of beings who are not here. They're here to challenge us, to punish us, to do certain things. They have a purpose, obviously. God creates everything, but it's like an animal. It's here for a specific purpose, and they follow God's command like angels, but they have a human appearance. They have those things they can do. That's as much as I know. I don't know much. Number 44. Mazikim. Okay, so what are the what does the Zera Levatala create? So wasting seeds creates every seed brings a soul, is attached to a soul, has a spiritual entity connected to it. So each time someone a man wastes seed, it creates mazikim. It's different than Shedim. It's not demons. Mazikim it's energy. Means destruction. Mazikim means hurt. The idea, meaning breaking, damaging. So there's creatures that sometimes damage our life, and the more we are careful about it, the more blessing and the less damages we'll have in our lives. It affects us on many levels. Sometimes it affects us physically, sometimes it affects us emotionally. The worst part of wasting seed is that it removes the spiritual desire to be close to God. That's the most destructive part of it. but obviously everybody fails. Every man fails. It is one of the greatest tests for men. One should not give up. One should always fight. Um, and even on the Kabbalistic level, it says that Yosef has wasted seed, even though with his temptation, he was successful with his temptation not to sleep with her, but there was some semen lost. So even on the level of Yosef, to teach us that the tzaddik is the one who just keeps fighting all the time, and so we have to do our best. Even though we fail 1,000 times, you have to stand up 1,000 times and try to control your desires not to waste seed. It's very important, especially people who try to meditate the energy, people who know about kundalini. It starts from the sexual area and you bring it all up. So it is important to be careful about that too. But those seeds creates mazikim, and those mazikim can be rectified, elevated, sent back to their root, the right place. And by the way, that's why when a man and a woman sleep together, the right man with the right woman, meaning married, the seed has to end up in the womb. Why? Because even though we're not necessarily trying to have children, even though we might not have children, it's a place of elevation. If this, it's like it's electronic, or like these two things connecting, and then it works. So the seed to be elevated, to be fixed, or to be not wasted, so to speak, to rectify those, to bring those souls back to where they need to, it's you put the seed in the right place, which is the womb of your wife, and that's how it gets all those souls get elevated and fixed. Having a holy relationship once you get married, and being careful with the laws of family purity, all that rectifies also all those seeds. There are a lot of books about it. There's a great book called The Light of Ephraim. A lot of things from Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, all stuff. The most important is not to be depressed, to be always happy, to fight. The more happy you are, the less you'll be prone to waste seed, and to make sure to be as careful as possible with one's eyes, which it all starts there. But if you have a happy marriage, and a happy sexual life, then that's where you're gonna be the most prone to be safe. Okay, so that's about those seeds, and we have one more question. How many 45? How many spiritual chambers exist where the soul goes when we die? So when we die, there it says in the Midrash Miam Loez, and in the Zohar and many other places, that there's 7 holy chambers in heaven, called Hechalot, sanctuaries, 7 levels, calls also sometimes 7 levels of Gan Eden. But basically, there's 7-star hotels for the souls to rest based on what it did in its life. And so when a soul leaves, based on its level, it finishes its mission, it stays in one of those 7 levels. Those 7 levels of holiness, but also 7 levels of hell, based on what we have done. Now, hell is not forever. Let's remember, it's it says in the Zohar Pekudei 245a that there also 7 opposite 7, and it's depending on each sin that you did that you didn't rectify. If you do teshuvah, you rectify and you try to fix before you die, those you don't need to go to hell and to those chambers of hells. So 7-star hell and 7-star hotel. Better to be in the hotel. And all that depends on how much we have rectified, if we've done tshuva, repentance, but it's important to know that those souls can be on several level when we die, because our whole work, by the way, the 7 levels obviously must be connected to the 7 spheros, the 7 for those who know, you'll know. Basically, the 7 lower energies that God created the world with, and therefore it corresponds to the 7 levels of Gan Eden. And basically, if one rectifies all those 7, then obviously it'll be in the 7th level. So let's all do the work and be aware of the great responsibility that is upon us. The reason we learn all those Kabbalah things is to have awareness how things work. The more you know how things work, the more you love God, the more you able to come close to God, the more you're able to learn Torah and deal with the evil and the spiritual and the suffering of the world. The more you know God, what He wants, and you fall in love with the whole system, because the whole system is a system of love. And that's why we're trying to learn. These are the basics of Kabbalah. I don't know any real Kabbalah. I know just the foundations, and that's what I'm trying to share with you, so that you can find a real Kabbalah teacher, get more into it, and become holy and fall in love with God, and fix and change the world. Have a wonderful day.